We talked about the other day coming out the gate being aggressive with this team. And when I say aggressive, that means we kind of take away things. And I thought we just allowed them to kind of pass the ball where they wanted to, go where they wanted to. And they had 20-something points, I think, in the paint in the first quarter, 40 in the half. So we really didn't give any resistance whatsoever on the defensive end. And when you do that against a team like this that execute the way they execute, they're going to kill you. And they carved us up in the first half.
This is Byron Scott, a versatile and intelligent shooting guard who was an integral part of the Showtime era of the Los Angeles Lakers, a three-time NBA champion, sharp scorer, and respected leader on the court. But what truly stood out about Byron Scott was his deep admiration for the teammates who shaped his journey and defined the legendary Lakers dynasty of the 1980s. So let's look at the basketball greats Byron Scott respected and admired the most and why they were so crucial to his success. But before proceeding, please take a second and hit that subscribe button and like this video. This will mean the world to us. Thanks. James Worthy, the big game James. James entered the NBA in a high-pressure situation, being the first overall pick in the 1982 draft after an iconic college career at North Carolina, capped by winning the NCAA championship alongside Michael Jordan. For most players, that kind of hype can become a burden, but Worthy embraced the opportunity to step into greatness. He arrived in Los Angeles to join a loaded Lakers squad already featuring legends like Magic and Kareem. James didn't just fit in. He transformed the team's offensive identity with his unmatched ability to slash and dominate in transition. It wasn't long before he earned his nickname, Big Game James, for the way he elevated his performances when it mattered most. His entrance into the league wasn't without struggle. Coming into a team already stacked with stars, he had to adapt and find his role quickly. Early in his rookie season, the pressure to perform was amplified when he suffered a devastating leg injury that ended his first year prematurely. It was a setback, yes, but it didn't define him. James worked tirelessly during rehab, determined to regain his explosiveness and prove he belonged alongside some of the NBA's greatest talents. By the time he returned, there was no doubt about his impact. He easily fit into the Lakers' Showtime style of basketball, providing scoring, defense, and energy that complemented the legendary duo of Magic and Kareem. His combination of athleticism and his ability to deliver in the crucial moments didn't go unnoticed. And throughout his career, James was defined by his consistency, clutch performances, and humility. Byron Scott often credited James as the kind of player you could trust no matter the circumstances. He was the guy you could always count on when the stakes were the highest, Scott reflected in interviews. His reputation as a big game player reached legendary status in the 1988 NBA Finals. With the Lakers back against the wall in Game 7 against the Detroit Pistons, James notched an unbelievable triple-double with 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists. That performance permanently cemented his nickname and made him one of the defining players of the Showtime Lakers era. And off the court, his mentality and approach to basketball mirrored the culture of greatness established within the Lakers during the 1980s. He wasn't loud, but carried himself with professionalism and a quiet determination that inspired his teammates. James led by example, Scott said. He came in, did his job, and let his game speak for itself. That's the kind of mentality that separates great players from the rest. His connection with his teammates was evident in their trust on the court, whether it was flashing toward the basket for a quick pass from Magic, sealing defenders for Kareem's skyhook, or igniting fast breaks. And what made him truly remarkable was how his skills translated into Showtime's fast-paced offense. Few players possessed the combination of explosiveness, finesse, and power that he brought night after night. His ability to run the floor in transition was second to none, as Byron Scott would describe. There was just something poetic about James on the fast break. He would glide down the floor, catch the pass, and finish at the rim before anyone could react. He was known for his unstoppable baseline spin move, which often left defenders helpless as he finished with ease. His mastery of footwork and balance allowed him to excel against defenders who were often physically stronger. And that mentality was evident in critical playoff series, where his ability to shine in big moments made him a player opponents truly feared. James wasn't just a great scorer. He was an all-around forward who defended well, rebounded, and made crucial plays when needed. He didn't chase stardom or personal stats, but always focused on how to make his team better and he did so time and time again. He retired with 3 NBA championships, a Finals MVP, 7 All-Star appearances, and a Hall of Fame induction. But even among such accolades, performances, and relentless work ethic that continued to resonate with teammates like Scott. James was one of the biggest reasons we had so much success, Scott explained. He understood his role, played it perfectly, and never hesitated to step up in the biggest moments. The legacy of Big Game James is one of mental toughness, physical dominance, and unwavering determination. His ability to rise above adversity and deliver when his team needed him most truly made him one of the defining players of his generation. But hold on, everything we have covered about James Worthy wouldn't have key player to the Lakers dynasty. Michael Cooper, defensive nightmare. Cooper was the defensive masterpiece that held everything together during the legendary Showtime era. A 6-time NBA All-Defensive Team selection and a Defensive Player of the Year, Cooper earned his reputation as one of the greatest perimeter defenders of all time. But getting to that level wasn't an easy or straightforward journey. In fact, the early days of his basketball career were filled with setbacks and uncertainty about his future in the league. Growing up in Pasadena, California, Cooper was an underdog from the start. In high school, he hurt his knee and didn't play during his senior year. Few colleges wanted to take a chance on an injured player. That didn't deter him, though. After a stint in junior college, Cooper joined the University of New Mexico, where he showcased his insane athleticism and knack for defense. These years forged his work ethic, a mentality that would later define him in the NBA. Cooper entered the league in 1978 when the Lakers selected him in the 3rd round of the NBA draft. Early doubts about his ability followed him into the pros, as he was viewed as a role player rather than a potential star. But Cooper didn't just fade into the background. Instead, he embraced his identity as a defensive specialist, a skill set that transitioned easily into the Lakers' high-energy, fast-paced system. He may not have been the one putting up 30 points a night or delivering flashy dunks, but Cooper's role was no less critical to the team's success. He became the Lakers' lockdown defender, the guy teammates relied on to guard the hardest matchups night in and night out. He wasn't tasked with scoring. His job was to stop scorers. And for more than a decade, Cooper was known as someone who could shut down the league's top offensive threats. No one understood his value better than his fellow players, and Byron Scott was among his biggest admirers. Scott once spoke in an interview about how much trust and confidence Cooper inspired in his teammates, saying, "Watching Coop guard the best guys in the league every night was inspiring. You felt a little safer knowing he had your back." That trust element was key to Cooper's game. He wasn't just relentless, he was smart. He studied opponents, understood their tendencies, and anticipated their moves. His defensive IQ made him invaluable on a team stacked with offensive weapons. Cooper famously said, "I've always been drawn to stopping players who think they're unstoppable," and true to his word, he locked down stars like Bird, George Gervin, and Julius Erving, earning widespread respect across the league. But he wasn't just a defender. He was also a versatile player who could adapt to different roles depending on what the Lakers needed. He was excellent in transition, frequently turning defense into offense during fast breaks. Cooper also developed into a reliable shooter, knocking down clutch moments when defenses least expected him to. In fact, his ability to hit big shots earned him a reputation as a silent assassin. Teammates and opponents alike recognized him as the guy who could stay composed under pressure, capitalizing on almost every poised opportunity. Coach Pat Riley praised his impact in a way few role players could ever dream of, declaring, "Michael sets the examples that you have to follow to win championships. His value isn't measured in stats, it's measured in championships." His ability to rally the team during high-pressure moments remains one of the defining characteristics of his career, and he had the daunting task of slowing down Larry Bird, one of the basketball's greatest scorers. Night after night, Cooper used his defensive instincts and incredible athleticism to frustrate Bird, making him work for every point. That matchup became the stuff of legend, a showcase of 2 great competitors unwilling to back down. Cooper later reflected on those battles, saying, "Guarding Larry gave me chills because you knew one slip-up could cost the game. But it taught me what it meant to face greatness and succeed against it." And while his role didn't come with grand stats, his contributions to the Lakers were undeniable. Over 12 seasons in Los Angeles, he played in more than 1,000 games, helped the team win 5 championships, and set the tone defensively for the most dominant period in franchise history. Teammates like Byron Scott credit Cooper for pushing them to be better, both on defense and off the court as professionals. His ability to lead without overshadowing the superstars made him a rare figure who could bring cohesion to a team full of highly competitive personalities, a player whose legacy is defined by his determination to perfect the art of making others better. And the next player was literally a mastermind in his defense game, and Scott admired that most about him. Kurt Rambis, Mr. Hustle. His journey to the NBA was far from glamorous, filled with obstacles and challenges that tested his resilience at every turn. Kurt started his basketball career at Santa Clara University, where he built a reputation as a relentless competitor, a toughness that would come to define his entire playing style. And despite his efforts in college basketball and putting up solid numbers, Rambis still faced doubts about his ability to thrive at the professional level. He wasn't the most athletic guy on the court, but he made up for it with heart and had already developed a thick skin. Drafted in the 3rd round of the 1980 NBA draft by the New York Knicks, his career wasn't exactly off to a roaring start. After being waived by the Knicks before even suiting up, he temporarily shifted gears and played overseas in Greece. It was here that Kurt proved he wasn't going to shy away from adversity. He focused on improving his craft. In 1981, the Lakers gave Kurt another shot, signing him as a free agent. This opportunity would culminate in Kurt carving out a role that played a pivotal part in the Lakers' golden era. He quickly built a reputation as one of the hardest workers on the Lakers roster. And while Magic dazzled with impossible passes and Kareem dominated the post with his iconic skyhook, Kurt did the things nobody else wanted to do but everyone needed, boxing out against bigger opponents, diving for loose balls, and crashing the boards with abandon. Kurt may not have had the flashy skills of his more celebrated teammates, but Scott knew how important he was to the team's success. Kurt did the dirty work. He sacrificed and played his role to perfection, and every great team needs that, Scott shared during an interview. On the court, he was miserable for opponents. He wasn't afraid to throw his body around, often putting himself in harm's way to make crucial stops or snag rebounds. His physical play style earned him respect not only from his teammates, but also from players around the league. Scott admired the way he treated every possession as a battle to be won, never taking plays off or resting on his laurels. Whether it was a regular season matchup or the NBA Finals, Kurt gave his all every single time he stepped on the court. Watching him hustle like that, you couldn't help but respect the guy. One particular moment that captures his toughness and unshakable commitment happened during the 1984 NBA Finals. Matched up against the physically imposing Boston Celtics, Kurt became the symbol of grit and blue-collar determination. In Game 4 of the series, a hard foul by Celtics forward, Kevin McHale sent him flying to the ground. The image of Kurt sprawled out on the hardwood while McHale walked away became one of the defining moments of that heated Lakers-Celtics rivalry. He didn't retaliate. He didn't complain. Instead, he got up, brushed himself off, and kept playing. That moment perfectly encapsulated what made Kurt so valuable to the Lakers. And beyond his physicality, his basketball IQ made him an underrated asset. He understood the game at a deeper level and knew how to position himself to make an impact, even without the ball in his hands. His screens opened up opportunities for scorers like Scott and James Worthy to thrive, and his strong rebounding presence helped Kareem control the paint. He knew his role and excelled in it, which made him indispensable to the Lakers' championship runs. He wasn't the guy putting up 20 points a night, but Kurt was the guy you could rely on to do everything else, Byron Scott said, emphasizing Kurt's importance. And while his contributions weren't always reflected in the box score, his value couldn't be overstated. He was the glue guy, the hustler, the enforcer who gave the star-studded Showtime Lakers their edge. His ability to thrive in an unglamorous but critical role earned him deep respect from his teammates. Even after his playing days ended, Kurt continued contributing to the league as an assistant coach and later as a head coach. While his name may not appear on lists of NBA legends, his impact on the Lakers and the game of basketball remains undeniable. From his humble beginnings at Santa Clara to his rise as a key role player during one of the NBA's most celebrated dynasties, Kurt proved time and time again that hustle, heart, and hard work could triumph over doubt. Norm Nixon, the floor general. He was everything a true point guard needed to be: fast, creative, and fiercely competitive. And before the focus shifted to Magic in the Showtime Lakers era, Nixon was the floor general running the show, and for a time, he was one of the most critical components of their success. His ability to control the tempo of the game, make quick decisions, and use his smooth ball handling and passing skills to create plays for his teammates earned him immense respect in the league. But while fans today might associate the Lakers dynasty with Magic and Kareem dominating the floor, those early years with Nixon were critical in laying the foundation for the team's future unparalleled success. Byron, who once called Nixon one of the smartest playmakers he'd ever seen, described him as the guy who found everybody on the floor and made the game easier for us. His road into professional basketball wasn't without its challenges. Drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the 1977 NBA draft as the 22nd overall pick, Nixon wasn't immediately thrust into stardom. With just 6'2" of height and a somewhat lean frame, he wasn't the type of player to physically overpower opponents. Instead, he relied on his quickness, sharp instincts, and dedication to outthink and outmaneuver his competition. He quickly proved himself as a valuable contributor, showing natural leadership by ensuring his teammates got the opportunities they needed. The Lakers began to lean on his playmaking ability, but he could also score when called upon, finishing his rookie season with an impressive 13.7 points per game and 6.8 assists per game. His immediate impact earned him recognition as one of the most promising young guards in the league. In the 1978-79 season, which marked his second in the league, Nixon's ability to function as the Lakers' primary playmaker continued to shine. He ran an offense powered by legendary figures like Kareem, while also demonstrating his ability to carry the load when needed. His scoring averages rose to 17.1 points per game, solidifying his reputation as someone who could both manage the pace of the game and put up his own numbers. But Nixon wasn't without hurdles. For all his brilliance, the Lakers weren't a complete team yet, with their roster missing the athletic spark needed to contend for championships. It would all change after the team brought in Magic Johnson, reshaping the team's structure entirely. And when Magic joined in 1979, Nixon faced one of the most defining challenges of his career. A new rookie with unmatched star power, Magic naturally made waves as an immediate franchise player. And suddenly, Nixon had to share the responsibilities of leading the Lakers' offense, a change that many thought would diminish his career. However, he rose to the occasion, adapting his style while maintaining his own rhythm and influence on the court. Together with Magic, they formed a backcourt that could confuse defenses and keep opponents on their toes. And one of Nixon's most underrated attributes was his ability to stay calm in high-pressure situations, something Scott repeatedly admired while playing alongside him. Nixon was known to rise to the occasion during pivotal games, making clutch plays that often swung momentum in favor of the Lakers. And by 1980, with both Nixon and Magic running the show, the Lakers had assembled a championship-worthy roster. Nixon played a pivotal role in helping the team win the NBA championship that year, setting the tone for what would later be known as the Showtime Lakers. And despite Magic's rising superstardom, Nixon's contributions weren't overshadowed. In fact, they were amplified as the duo exemplified teamwork, chemistry, and the value of selflessness. And while he didn't achieve quite the same level of success with the Clippers, he remained a highly skilled point guard, closing out his career with more than 6,000 assists and solidifying his spot in NBA history as one of the most underrated playmakers of his time. Despite leaving the Lakers, his legacy lives on as one of the foundational players who helped shape the franchise during its pivotal years. For Scott, Nixon wasn't just the floor general. He represented the perfect example of teamwork and sacrifice in pursuit of greatness. Magic Johnson, the ultimate leader. His journey to becoming the ultimate leader didn't start with the glamour of Showtime, but with hard work and unparalleled charisma. On the court, Magic wasn't just a point guard. He was the heartbeat of the Los Angeles Lakers during their dynasty. A 5-time NBA champion, 3-time MVP, and one of the most electrifying personalities basketball has ever seen, Magic defined what it meant to lead during the high-tempo, high-pressure era of the 1980s. While it seemed like success came naturally to him, his story is one of resilience, relentless drive, and a love for the game that inspired hope both on the hardwood and beyond. Growing up in Lansing, Michigan, Magic's early basketball career was defined by his natural flair for the game. Born Irvin Johnson Jr., he earned the nickname Magic during high school after an astonishing 36-point, 16-rebound, and 18-assist performance in a single game. Even as a teenager, Magic showed an uncanny ability to make his teammates better by sharing the ball, making plays, and lifting their energy simply by being on the court. And yet, his rise wasn't without challenges. Despite his incredible abilities, Magic faced adversity, including criticism and racial prejudice. However, these obstacles only fueled his determination to succeed. When he declared his basketball future with Michigan State University, it wasn't clear whether his style of play could dominate at the collegiate level. As a tall point guard, standing at 6 feet 9 inches, Magic was unconventional for his position. Most doubted that a player of his size could thrive as an orchestrator of plays rather than a scorer. But Magic didn't just fit into the mold, he shattered it. He led Michigan State to its first ever NCAA title in 1979, besting Larry Bird's Indiana State in what remains one of the most iconic college basketball games in history. Entering the NBA shortly after, Magic took his leadership skills and unshakable confidence to the professional stage alongside the Los Angeles Lakers, where he would cement his place as a generational talent. Magic exploded into the NBA as the first overall pick in the 1979 draft, and showcased unbelievable versatility during his rookie season. Fans were accustomed to rookies who stumbled as they adjusted to the league. But Magic? He adjusted the league to him. He won the NBA Finals MVP as a rookie while filling in at center for Kareem during Game 6 of the Finals. Scoring 42 points, grabbing 15 rebounds, and dishing out 7 assists, his performance was almost mythical. At just 20 years old, he was already rewriting expectations for a point guard, proving that leadership was about inspiring those around you, not conforming to tradition. Magic thrived in the Lakers' Showtime era, an era dominated by dazzling fast breaks, breathtaking passes, and an unstoppable offense. Magic wasn't just our point guard. He was the engine that drove everything we did, Byron famously said. His confidence and enthusiasm weren't hollow, they were infectious. And playing alongside icons like Kareem and James Worthy, Magic earned his reputation as a transcendent leader. His ability to dish out impossible assists, anticipate plays like no one else, and elevate his teammates inspired Scott and the rest of the team to raise their games. One of his most iconic rivalries was with Larry Bird, a contrast in personality, yet a perfect complement on the court. Their duels defined the 1980s and elevated basketball into a global phenomenon. I respected Bird as my biggest rival, but at the same time, I knew we shared one thing: a love for competing at the highest level. Magic later reflected. Magic's career wasn't without incredible challenges. His vibrant personality masked the unforeseen obstacles that tested his resolve over the years. Perhaps the most shocking moment of his life came in 1991, when Magic announced he was retiring after testing positive for HIV. The news stunned the basketball world, abruptly placing one of the biggest personalities in NBA history on a new path. Instead of disappearing from the spotlight, Magic used his platform to advocate for education, awareness, and change, demonstrating a different form of leadership. "I couldn't stop being a leader," he once said. "Whether I was on the court or off of it, I wanted to inspire people to be better, to think bigger." And his impact on basketball and beyond is impossible to quantify. As a 5-time NBA champion and all-time leader in assists per game, his legacy as one of the greatest players in the sport's history is secure. But it is his leadership that remains the most remarkable part of his story. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, silent dominance. Kareem entered the league as a dominant force, and for 2 decades, he remained a symbol of excellence. With a unique combination of skill, intelligence, and poise, he has cemented his name as the NBA's all-time leading scorer, a 6-time MVP, and a 6-time NBA champion. His skyhook shot, often considered the most unstoppable move in basketball, became his trademark, and his unmatched consistency created a path to greatness like no other. But beyond all the accolades, his silent dominance set him apart. He wasn't flashy, but his presence carried an undeniable weight, a trait Byron Scott deeply respected. He often recalled his leadership style, saying, "Kareem didn't say much, but his presence was everything. He brought discipline and consistency like no player I've ever played with." Before he became the NBA's scoring king, he was a young Lou Alcindor, growing up in Harlem, New York, and navigating challenges that shaped his career. A basketball prodigy through and through, Kareem's early years involved facing adversity on and off the court. As an African-American athlete, excelling during a tumultuous era of civil rights movements, his love for basketball was a beacon in his life. He dominated high school basketball at Power Memorial Academy, where he led his team to an astonishing 72-game winning streak and 3 consecutive city championships. College presented an even bigger challenge. Playing for UCLA under legendary coach John Wooden, his dominance continued as he propelled to 3 consecutive NCAA championships. When Kareem entered the NBA in 1969 as the #1 overall pick for the Milwaukee Bucks, he was already a star in the making. Teaming up with Oscar Robertson, Kareem won his first title in 1971, becoming a champion early in his career. But Scott appreciated the consistency and professionalism he maintained thereafter, especially when he eventually joined the Lakers in 1975. By then, he was already a 5-time MVP, but adjusting to a new team and defining his role was no small task. And what stood out about Kareem in Scott's eyes was his quiet sense of leadership, his ability to influence the team with calm confidence. Kareem didn't yell or have to call anyone out on the floor, Scott said. He'd lead by example, and his consistency spoke louder than words. And as Byron joined the Lakers during their famous Showtime era in the 1980s, he saw firsthand how Kareem's mastery shaped the team. Even at 7'2", Kareem displayed unmatched agility and finesse, using his skyhook to score over any defender, no matter their size or skill level. Scott and his teammates often admired his ability to remain dominant deep into his career, a testament to his discipline and preparation. You always knew Kareem would get the job done. He was like clockwork, so consistent with that skyhook. You couldn't stop it, Scott remarked. His leadership resonated even more during practice sessions, where he challenged the younger players to work on fundamentals while maintaining their composure under pressure. And while some NBA stars relied on big personalities to push their teammates, Kareem let his actions do the talking, proving leadership comes in various forms. However, what impressed Scott the most wasn't just his unparalleled skill, but how he carried himself during games, particularly in high-pressure moments. Kareem became the Lakers' rock during key playoff runs, tightening his focus and delivering clutch performances when the stakes were highest. Scott often mentioned how Kareem's calm nature comforted the rest of the team during tense matchups. You'd look over at Kareem, and he'd have this calm expression. It made you feel like everything was under control. That's the kind of presence only great leaders have, Scott said. His ability to block out distractions and remain deliberate embodied his silent dominance, elevating not only his individual performance, but the team's dynamic as well. Despite his legendary career, Kareem was never one to chase fame or sensational headlines. He often avoided the media and prioritized using his platform to address larger societal issues. As one of the most intellectual and socially conscious athletes of his time, Kareem advocated for racial equality and justice, a side of him Scott deeply respected. Kareem was all about the truth. He spoke up when it mattered, but he never did it for attention. His off-court impact added even more layers to his legacy, showing the world that greatness extends beyond the game. Even as he entered his 40s, he remained effective, helping the Lakers win titles despite age catching up. It was his discipline, preparation, and mental fortitude that allowed him to succeed for 20 years, a feat many modern players continue to chase. Kareem was proof that you didn't have to burn out. Every year, he came back stronger, sharper, and with more wisdom. That's what made him special, Scott said. To this day, Kareem represents the pinnacle of what it means to be both a transcendent athlete and a role model beyond the sport. These players challenged Scott to be a better athlete and contributed to the iconic era of Lakers basketball that continues to inspire generations. All right, that's all for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.